The morning sky over Seoul was clear when death came from the stars. Subin sat at her desk in the Earth Defense Communications Center, sipping her coffee. For 3 years, she had worked the early shift, watching screens that showed only empty space. Today was different. A signal appeared on her monitor, something big moving fast toward Earth. "Director Jin Woo," she called across the room. "We have a contact." Jin Woo had been Earth's defense admiral for only 2 years. He was a careful man, who liked facts more than guessing. He walked to Subin's station and looked at her screen. "How big?" he asked. "Massive. Maybe 1,000 ships." Jin Woo felt ice in his stomach. Earth had 50 warships. Old ones. "Sound the alarm," he said. "Get me the president." 27 minutes later, the first alien ship appeared in Earth's sky. It was huge, bigger than any human building. Black metal that seemed to eat light. Subin watched her screens as more ships dropped out of hyperspace. "Admiral, incoming. Transmission," a technician called. "Put it through." The voice that filled the room was cold and machine-like. "I am War Commander Thexmore of the Vextai Empire. You will surrender your world. You have 1 Earth hour." Jin Woo grabbed the microphone. "This is Admiral Jin Woo of Earth Defense. Who are you? What do you want?" Laughter came through the speakers. Cruel laughter. "You will understand soon enough." The transmission ended. In Seoul, Kyung-ho was teaching his engineering class when the sky changed. The students pointed at the windows. Above the city, the air itself seemed to bend. Then the ships appeared, hundreds of them. Kyung-ho had fought in the border war 10 years ago. He knew weapons when he saw them. "Everyone down," he yelled. "Get under your desks." The first energy beam hit the Lotta Tower. The building didn't explode. It simply disappeared. A column of green light touched it, and then there was nothing but empty air. People screamed. Cars crashed as drivers stared at the sky instead of the road. The alien ships kept firing. In her lab under the National University, Hana heard the explosions above. She was working on quantum field theory, trying to understand how to bend space itself. The lights flickered. Her computer screens went dark. "Emergency power," she muttered, hitting switches. Around her, test equipment hummed to life. She could hear sirens, could feel the building shake with each explosion. Hana looked at her latest experiment. For months, she had been working on HFY, a machine that could create small distortions in space-time. Nothing big, just enough to make light bend around objects. The building shook again. Harder this time. Above ground, the city was burning. Jin Woo stood in the command center watching his world die. The alien ships were too fast, too strong. Earth's fighters launched and died in minutes. The Vextai had shields that made human. "Weapons useless, sir," Subin said, her voice shaking. "They're landing troops." On her screen, Jin Woo saw small ships falling like deadly rain. They landed in parks, on buildings, in streets. Doors opened. Things came out. The Vextai soldiers were tall and thin with 4 arms and skin like metal. They carried weapons that fired energy instead of bullets. Humans tried to fight them with tanks and rifles. The tanks melted. The rifles made pretty sparks against alien armor. "We need to evacuate the government," someone said. "Where?" Jin Woo asked. "They're everywhere." In Seoul, Kyung-ho watched the city fall. The aliens moved through the streets, setting up devices that glowed with strange light. Any human who came too close simply stopped moving. Not dead, but not alive either. Frozen, Kyung-ho gathered his students. "We're going underground," he said. "Follow me." Seoul had old tunnels from the war. Kyung-ho knew them all. He led his, group through maintenance passages and forgotten storage rooms. Other people followed. Police officers, shopkeepers, children. Word spread quickly. The engineering professor knew how to hide. By nightfall, Kyung-ho had 200 people in the tunnels. By morning, that number was 1,000. The aliens called them refugees, insects, vermin. They were wrong. Hana worked through the night as the world ended above her. Her quantum field generator was small, only the size of a desk. But it worked. She had tested it on pencils and coffee cups, making them invisible for seconds at a time. Now she pushed the machine harder. The field grew stronger. She could hide bigger things for longer. When alien soldiers finally reached her lab, they found it empty. But Hana was there, invisible, watching them. Learning. The Vextai looked at her equipment. They took some things, left others. They did not find her. After they left, Hana dropped the field. She was tired and scared, but she was also angry. These aliens thought humans were nothing, weak, helpless. She would show them different. Across the world, the same scene played out. London burned, Tokyo fell. New York's towers crumbled under green fire. But humans didn't break. They bent. They hid. They waited. In his command bunker, Jin Woo got reports from around the globe. Every major city was under alien control. Earth's governments had fallen. Millions were dead. "Admiral," Subin said. She had stayed at her post through everything. "We're getting radio signals, underground groups, resistance cells." Jin Woo nodded. He had expected this. Humans were like weeds. You could burn the surface, but the roots went deep. "Connect me to them," he said. All of them. That night, as the Vextai celebrated their easy victory, Jin Woo spoke to the hidden, to the survivors, to the resistance. "They think they've won," he said. "They think we're finished, but they don't understand us. We don't just fight to win. We fight to survive. And we're very, very good at surviving." In Seoul's tunnels, Kyung-ho heard the message and smiled. In her hidden lab, Hana heard it and pushed her machine harder. Around the world, humans heard it and began to plan. The Vextai had hit Earth first. They had taken the planet in one day. They thought the war was over. They had no idea it was just beginning. The aliens had made one small mistake. They had left humans alive. They thought humans were too weak, too primitive to be a real threat. They would learn different. The next day, the real war began. In the tunnels under Seoul, Kyung-ho had built something new. Where once there were just empty passages, now there was a hidden city. Lights hung from cables. People had beds made from salvaged materials. The tunnels echoed with voices, not screams anymore, but conversation. "Minho, show them the weapon," Kyung-ho said. Minho had been an electronics engineer before the invasion. Now he was their inventor. He held up a rifle that looked strange, part human, part alien. "I took apart 5 Vextai guns to make this one," Minho explained to the crowd. "It works like theirs, but uses our power cells. We can finally fight back." The people cheered quietly. They had learned to be careful with noise. Kyung-ho nodded. "We start tonight, small raids only. Take their supplies. Learn how they think." Above ground, the city looked different. Vextai ships floated over the buildings. Tall silver towers reached into the sky, alien tech that the humans didn't understand. Not yet. In her hidden lab, Hana had been busy too. 6 months ago, her quantum field generator could hide only small things. Now it could cloak an entire room. She had studied the alien technology, learned from it, improved on it. "Yerin, come here," Hana called to her assistant. Yerin had been a doctor before the war. Now she studied alien biology. She walked to Hana's workstation where screens showed Vextai brain scans. "I found something," Yerin said. "Look at this." She pointed to patterns on the screen. "Their brains are different from ours. They have sections that we don't have, but also they're missing something." "What?" "Creativity. They think in straight lines, always the same patterns. They can't adapt like we can." Hana smiled. "That's their weakness." Far above, in orbit, Admiral Jin Woo's ship was still hidden. Earth's last battleship, invisible to alien sensors. Subin worked at her station, her screens full of data. "Admiral," she said, "I've been listening to their communications for months. I think I understand their language now." Jin Woo leaned forward. "What are they saying?" "Earth was just practice. They're planning to attack other worlds, many other worlds. We weren't special, we were just first." The Admiral's jaw tightened. How many ships do they have? Thousands, maybe more. And they're bringing more ships here every week. Jinwoo stared. At the screens, Earth was doomed. But maybe Earth could save others. In Seoul's tunnels, the first raid had begun. Kyung-ho led 20 people through the old storm drains. They moved like shadows, using maintenance tunnels and forgotten passages. Min-ho carried his new weapon. Others had simple tools, knives, clubs, stolen alien equipment. Their target was small, just a supply depot. But it was a start. They reached the building through the basement. The Vextai had guards, but only 2. They did not expect attack from below. Min-ho's weapon fired silently. The first guard fell. Kyung-ho hit the second with a hammer before it could call for help. "Quick," he whispered. "Take everything you can carry." They found boxes of alien supplies, food that looked strange but smelled good, small devices they didn't understand, and something that made Kyung-ho smile. Alien weapons. 5 minutes, he said. Then we leave. They were gone before other Vextai came to check on the guards. Hana watched the raid through her computers. She had hacked into the city's security systems. The aliens never thought humans could understand their technology so quickly. "They're learning," she said to herself. Yerin looked up from her work. "Who, us or them?" "Both. But we're learning faster." 3 days later, Min-ho presented his latest creation. It looked like a normal backpack, but it wasn't. "It's a shield," he explained. "Like theirs, but smaller. It can stop their energy weapons for about 10 seconds. 10 seconds isn't long," someone said. "It's enough to run," Kyung-ho replied. "Or to get close enough to fight." The raids grew bolder. The resistance hit supply lines. They saved human prisoners. They stole alien technology and learned how to use it. The Vextai noticed. "These insects are becoming annoying," War Commander Thexmore told his captains. "Increase patrols, scan the underground." "Sir," one captain said carefully, "perhaps we should just destroy the remaining humans. They are not useful to the Empire." Thexmore's eyes glowed red. In Vextai culture, questioning orders meant death. But this captain had a point. "No, Thexmore," said finally. "The Empire wants slaves, not dead worlds. But make them fear us more." That night, the Vextai bombed random buildings. Not strategic targets, just places where humans lived. The message was clear. Resist and die. It didn't work. By morning, Kyung-ho's tunnels were full of new people. Humans who had lost their homes. Humans who were angry. "They think fear will stop us," Kyung-ho told them. "They're wrong. Fear makes us stronger." Hana agreed. She had finished her newest invention, a jamming device that could block Vextai communications for short periods. Combined with Min-ho's shield generators, the resistance was becoming dangerous. Admiral Jin Woo received reports from around the world. The same thing was happening everywhere. In the ruins of London, humans had taken control of 3 city blocks. In Tokyo's subway system, a resistance cell had captured an entire Vextai patrol. "They're not just surviving," Subin reported. "They're adapting, learning, fighting smarter. And the aliens? Still following their same tactics. They never change. Their plans." Jinwoo nodded. That was humanity's edge. Aliens thought like machines. Humans thought like humans. "Subin, can you hack their command network?" "Maybe, if I can get close enough to one of their towers. Then we'll get you close." The operation began at midnight. Jinwoo led a small team of Marines to Seoul. They used Hana's cloaking tech to stay hidden. Kyung-ho's people guided them through the tunnels. They reached the Vextai tower just as the aliens changed guards. Subin had only minutes to work. She plugged her device into the tower's base. Code ran across her screen. The alien system fought back, but Subin was ready. "I'm in," she whispered. What she found changed everything. Earth was just the first target. The Vextai planned to attack 50 human colonies, then 100 other worlds. They had lists of species to conquer, plans to enslave entire galaxies, but they also had weaknesses. "Admiral," Subin said through her radio. "They're not alone. There are other species fighting them. The Kiltar, the Zephini, others. How long ago did the invasion start? The Kiltar fell 2 years ago. The Zephini 6 months ago, right before us. Jinwoo understood. The attacks were connected, planned, but that meant something else too. Somewhere out there, other beings were suffering like humans suffered. They were prisoners like humans were prisoners. But maybe, just maybe, they were fighting back like humans were fighting back. Hana made the connection first. "We're not alone," she told Kyung-ho. "There are others fighting them. Can we contact them?" "Not yet, but I have an idea." She showed him her latest project. Not a weapon or a shield, a transmitter, something that could send signals across space. "If I can boost its power," she said, "we can talk to them, share what we've learned, learn what they know." Kyung-ho smiled. "Do it." As the second month of resistance began, something new appeared. In the tunnels of Seoul, not just anger, not just survival, hope. The aliens had hit Earth first thinking it would be easy. They were learning different. Humans didn't just survive. They grew stronger. They didn't just adapt. They improved. War. Commander Thexmore looked at the reports and felt something new. Something his species rarely felt. Doubt. These humans were not like other species. Other conquered worlds had broken quickly, surrendered, accepted slavery. Not humans. "Sir," a captain said, "should we send for more ships?" Thexmore thought carefully. More ships meant admitting these insects were a real threat. His superiors would not like that. "Not yet," he said. "But double the patrols, and find those tunnels." In her lab, Yerin made a discovery that would change the war. "Hana," she called, "you need to see this." On her screen was a map of Vextai brain patterns, but now she had compared them to human patterns. "We're not just different," Yerin said. "We're opposite. Look, where Vextai had rigid thinking, humans had flexibility. Where Vextai had perfect recall, humans had imagination. Where Vextai had order, humans had chaos. It's like they're missing half their brain," Yerin continued. "The half that makes them creative." Hana stared at the data. An idea began to form. A terrible, wonderful idea. "What if," she said slowly, "what if we could teach them to think like us?" Yerin looked shocked. "Why would we do that?" "Because," Hana smiled, "they wouldn't be Vextai anymore." Above ground, Seoul burned with small fires. The resistance was growing. Humans were learning, adapting, becoming dangerous. The aliens had hit Earth first. It was beginning to look like a mistake. 1 year after the invasion, Admiral Jin Woo stood on the bridge of humanity's newest ship. It didn't look like the old Earth vessels. This ship was built from alien technology that humans had improved. "Admiral," Subin called from her station, "we've reached Jupiter." Through the front window, Jin Woo could see Europa. The ice moon glowed with alien lights. The Vextai had built a massive base there. Supply ships came and went like metal insects. "Signal the fleet," Jin Woo said. Behind them, 50 human ships waited in the dark. They were invisible to Vextai sensors. Hana's cloaking technology had improved that much. These ships carried something new, not just weapons, not just soldiers. They carried hope. On Earth, Kyung-ho watched the feed from Europa through his screens. His tunnel city had grown. 10,000 humans lived underground now. They had factories, schools, even small parks. "Minho," he said to his chief engineer, "are the transmitters ready?" Minho nodded. "All linked. When the Admiral gives the signal, we'll send the message to every Vextai ship at once." The message was Yerin's idea. After months of studying alien brains, she had found something terrible and wonderful. Vextai minds could be reprogrammed, changed, made to think differently. The test had been successful. A captured Vextai soldier had been given what Yerin called creativity treatment. In 3 days, the alien went from mindless follower to someone who questioned orders, who asked why, who imagined better ways to do things. It destroyed its Vextai nature, but it also saved its soul. Incoming transmission, Subin announced. It's from the alien base. War Commander Thexmore appeared on screen. His red eyes burned with anger. Human Admiral, you dare come here? I come with an offer, Jinwoo replied. Surrender your base. Leave our moon. Leave our world. Thexmore laughed. You have 50 ships. I have 500. Your offer is amusing. Look again, Jinwoo said. Hana pressed a button. Suddenly, the dark space around Europa lit up. Not 50 ships, 200. Ships from every human colony. Ships built by the Resistance. Ships that didn't exist an hour ago, but that wasn't the surprise. Sir, a Vextai captain said to Thexmore, we're receiving signals from some of our ships. They're not responding to orders. Thexmore turned to see the screens. 3 of his ships were turning away from Earth. Their crews were broadcasting a message. We remember who we were. We choose freedom. These weren't human ships. They were Vexitai ships with crews that had been treated, reprogrammed, set free. Impossible, Thexmore whispered. Very possible, a new voice said. A hologram appeared next to Jinwoo. It was tall, with blue skin and 4 eyes. I am Captain Zalthan of the Kyltar Resistance. We have been fighting the Vextai for 3 Earth years. Another hologram joined them. This one had silver skin and 6 arms. Commander Velix of the Zephini Liberation. We were slaves. Now we are free. Thexmore stared. His greatest fear was coming true. The conquered species weren't broken. They were organized. United. Humans did this, Velix continued. They found us through Vextai networks, shared their technology, taught us to hope again. On Europa base, alarms screamed. More Vextai ships were turning away. Their crews were changing, breaking free. How? Thexmore demanded. Yiren's voice came through the comm. She was on Earth, but her words reached everywhere. We put a gift in your food, your water, your air, nanomachines that help brains grow, parts that were missing, parts you never had. The truth was elegant and horrible. For months, the Resistance had been spreading Yiren's nanobots through the water systems. Every Vextai on Earth had been infected. They just hadn't changed yet. Until now, the nanobots activated all at once. Across the galaxy, Vextai soldiers stopped moving. For one moment, they felt something new, something dangerous. They felt free will. Not all of them changed. Some fought the nanobots. Some stayed loyal to the Empire. But many didn't. On Europa base, a Vextai engineering team looked at their weapons and made a choice. They turned the base's guns toward their own command center. Sir, a captain shouted. Our own weapons are targeting us. Thexmore saw his empire crumbling. Fire on the human fleet. All ships attack. The battle began. But it wasn't the battle anyone expected. Vextai ships fired on each other. Human ships worked with liberated alien crews. The space around Europa became chaos. Dongjun led the first wing of human fighters. He had been a taxi driver before the invasion. Now he was humanity's best pilot. Remember, he told his squad, don't shoot the ships with blue lights. Those are friendlies. The liberated Vextai ships had marked themselves. Blue lights meant freedom. Red lights meant empire. Dongjun's fighter was small but fast. He flew through the battle like a dancer. His weapons were precise. He didn't kill if he could disable. This is Fighter 7, he heard on his radio. Some of the Empire. Ships want to surrender. Let them, Dongjun replied. We're not here to destroy. We're here to free. On Earth, Mi Young coordinated the battle from Seoul's command center. She had been a chess champion before becoming a war strategist. Now she moved fleets like pieces on a board. Admiral, she radioed to Jinwoo. The Zephini fleet just arrived, and they brought friends. Through the quantum gateway came ships from a dozen worlds. Species the Vextai had conquered. Species that humans had contacted and rescued. The battle was becoming a liberation. Thexmore watched his forces scatter. Half his ships had joined the enemy. The other half couldn't fight effectively with blue and red lights mixed together. He made a desperate choice. "Prepare the planet killer," he ordered. His subordinates stared. "Sir, that weapon is for destroying entire worlds, not ship battles. These humans are a cancer," Thexmore raged. "We cut out the cancer or it spreads. The planet killer was a weapon that ate matter itself. It could destroy Europa, the human fleet, everything." But Thexmore had forgotten something. The crew operating. The weapon had been drinking water too. "Sir," the weapon operator said slowly, "I won't fire this weapon. You will obey." "No," the operator smiled. It was the first smile any Vextai had seen in 1,000 years. "I choose not to." Security forces moved to arrest the operator, but they had been changed too. Instead of arresting him, they surrounded Thexmore. The liberation hadn't just reached the galaxy, it had reached Europa base. From Earth, Tai-hyun watched everything through the quantum link. He had been chosen as humanity's first galactic diplomat, a strange job for someone who used to sell shoes. "Admiral Jin Woo," he transmitted. "I'm getting messages from Vextai worlds. Some of their populations are changing, rebelling." The nanobots hadn't just affected soldiers. They had spread to Vextai civilians, to their families, to their leaders. An empire built on rigid control was collapsing because its people suddenly had the ability to think for themselves. "Sir," Subin said to Jin Woo, "War Commander Thexmore is requesting to speak with you." Thexmore appeared on screen again, but he looked different. Older. Tired. "You have won," he said simply. "But you have also destroyed us. Without order. Without commands. We are not Vextai anymore." "You're something better," Ji-hoon replied. He was a philosopher who had joined the fleet as a counselor. "You're free." "Free to do what?" "We don't know how to be free." "Then learn." Hana's voice came through the comm. "We'll teach you. Like you taught us to fight, we'll teach you to choose." The surrender of Europa base was unlike any surrender in galactic history. The Vextai didn't give up. They joined. Former enemies worked together to shut down the planet killer. Engineers from 3 species modified the weapon to become a tool for building instead of destroying. Kyung-ho received a message he never expected. An alien communication, in Korean. "Teacher Kyung-ho," the message read. "This is Kerval. You freed my mind. I want to learn more. Can you teach me about hope?" Kerval had been a Vextai captain 6 months ago. Now he was asking a human to teach him about emotions his species had forgotten. Jin Woo met with the liberated commanders. The room was crowded. Humans, Vextai, Kiltar, Zafini, and others. Species that had been enemies were now allies. "The war isn't over," Captain Zalthan warned. "The Vextai Empire still has thousands of ships, millions of soldiers. But they have a weakness now," Velix added. "Our people are spreading the change. Every day, more Vextai remember what it means to choose. What's our next move?" "Someone," asked Jin Woo, looked around the room, at humans who had learned to fight, at aliens who had learned to be free, at the impossible alliance that started with one small planet's refusal to surrender. "We go home," he said. "All of us. To all our homes, and we make sure no one is a slave anymore." Dong Jun, monitoring communications, raised his hand. "Admiral, we're getting a message from Vextai Prime, their capital world." "What kind of message?" Dong Jun smiled. "A revolution, sir. It's already started." The news spread through both fleets. The Vextai Empire's own capital was in rebellion. Citizens who had lived without choice for centuries were suddenly choosing freedom. The war had become something bigger than a war. It had become an awakening. As the joint human-alien fleet prepared to leave Europa, Sojin recorded the moment. She had been a documentary maker before the invasion. Now she recorded history. "Today," she said to her camera, "we proved something. When you hit Earth first, you don't just hurt humans, you teach them, and what humans learn, they share." The ships moved toward Earth, carrying former enemies who were now friends. Behind them, Europa base transformed from a place of war to 2 years after the first invasion. The universe was different. Director Cho stood on the observation deck of Unity Station. Once named Admiral Jin Woo, he now led something bigger than just human forces. Through the vast windows, he watched ships from 100 worlds orbit peacefully. Earth ships, Vextai ships, Kyltar vessels, Zeffini craft, all flying together. Director, Hana said, approaching with her latest invention. The final test was successful. She held a small device, bigger than a book. It looked simple. It was not. Show me, Cho said. Hana activated the device. Suddenly, every screen in the station lit up with the same message. Quantum field active. All weapon systems disabled. Throughout the station, security guards checked their sidearms. Nothing. Energy weapons wouldn't fire. Projectile weapons wouldn't load. Even kitchen knives became too dull to cut. How long? Cho asked. As long as we want. The field affects everything. Every gun, every missile, every bomb. Nothing designed to hurt can function while this runs. Cho nodded slowly. This was it, the end of war itself. On Earth, Kyung-ho walked through New Seoul. The city had been rebuilt, but it looked different now. Human architecture mixed with alien designs. Vextai gardens grew beside Korean temples. Kyltar art decorated Zeffini shops. In the main square, children played together. Human children, Vextai children, others. They laughed in different languages, but their laughter meant the same thing. Professor, one of his students called. It was Kerval, the former Vextai captain. He was teaching his own people now. Teaching them about choice. Kerval. Kyung-ho smiled. How are your students? Learning to question everything. As you taught me. Kerval paused. Some find it difficult. They lived so long without thinking for themselves. Change is never easy, Kyung-ho replied. But it's always worth it. Across the galaxy, similar scenes played out. Former slave worlds were rebuilding. Former conquerors were learning to create instead of destroy, but not everyone was happy. Emperor Zexthul of the Vextai Empire stood in his throne room on Vexthanor Prime. Around him, the greatest fleet in galactic history waited for orders. Ships that had not been infected by human nanobots. Ships crewed by Vextai who had never tasted freedom. My emperor, his war master bowed. Half our empire has fallen to these humans. Our own people rebel against us. Not for long, the emperor hissed. We have prepared. These ships, this fleet, they are pure, uncontaminated. We will crush this rebellion and show the galaxy why. The empire has ruled for 10,000 years. But the emperor was wrong about something. His fleet was not pure. So Jin had been busy. Now Earth's chief information officer, she had spent months spreading a different kind of nanobots. Not ones that forced change, but ones that simply recorded every conversation, every order, every thought of doubt. When the Emperor's fleet reached Earth, they found something impossible. The planet was undefended. No ships, no orbital weapons, no shields. Earth hung in space like a blue jewel, completely vulnerable. Emperor, the War Master said carefully. This could be a trap. Of course it's a trap, Zexthul replied. But we have 2 million ships. They cannot hide an entire fleet. He was right. The humans were not hiding. As the Vextai fleet approached Earth, a single small ship flew out to meet them. It carried no weapons, no shields, just one person. Sojin. She appeared on the Emperor's screen looking remarkably calm for someone facing 2 million warships. Emperor Zexthul, she said. I offer you the same choice we offered War Commander Thexmore. Surrender now, join us willingly, or face the consequences. The Emperor laughed. You threaten me? You and your one ship against my armada? Not me, Sojin said. Them. She pointed behind the Emperor. The screens in the Imperial throne room came to life. They showed his own ships, his own crews. But something was wrong. My Emperor, a voice said. It was Captain Nexcool, one of his most loyal commanders. "I have something to tell you." On the screen, Nexcool stood with his entire crew behind him. They all looked different. "We remember," Nexcool said. "We remember what it felt like before the Empire, before the rules, before the fear." More screens lit up. More captains. More crews. "We recorded everything," Sojin explained. "Every moment of doubt. Every question you forbade them to ask. Every dream they were not allowed to have. We collected it all." She held up a device. "And now we give it back to them." Across the Emperor's fleet, screens showed memories. Personal memories. Thoughts that Vextai had hidden deep inside. Feelings they had buried for centuries. A mother's love for her child. A soldier's horror at needless killing. An artist's desire to create beauty. The nanobots in Sojin's device did not add anything new. They simply unlocked what was already there. "Impossible," the Emperor whispered. But ship after ship was changing. Crews who had been loyal for lifetimes suddenly remembered why they had joined the Empire in the first place. To protect their people, not to conquer others. "Emperor," another captain appeared on screen. Then another. Then thousands. "We choose differently now," they said. Within hours, the Emperor's fleet was no longer his. Ships that had come to destroy Earth now protected it. Emperor Zexathul stood alone in his throne room, except for a few still loyal guards. "You have destroyed the Empire," he said to Sojin. "No," Sojin replied. "We freed it." A new voice joined the conversation. It was Thexmore, the war commander who had started everything by attacking Earth. "My Emperor," Thexmore said. "I was wrong. We were all wrong. These humans, they do not conquer. They liberate." The former war commander appeared on the throne, room's main screen. But he was not alone. Standing with him were representatives of 100 worlds. All species that had been part of the Vextai Empire. "We declare the founding of the Galactic Peace Alliance," Thexmore announced. "Every world is free. Every people choose their own path. And war is forbidden." Sojin nodded. "Emperor, you have two choices: rule nothing, or lead everyone." "What do you mean?" "Help us. Help us build something better than an empire. Help us make sure war never happens again to anyone." The Emperor looked at his empty throne room, at his rebellion fleet, at the universe changing around him. "And if I refuse?" Hana appeared on the screen holding her device. "Then you sit alone in your palace while everyone else builds a better galaxy." She pressed a button. Across the entire galaxy, the quantum field activated. Every weapon everywhere stopped working. From the smallest knife to the largest planet killer, nothing designed to hurt would function. "How long?" the Emperor asked. "Forever," Hana said. "The field generators are on every world now. Self-maintaining, self-replicating. War is physically impossible now." Cho's voice joined them. "We learned, Emperor. You taught us that force is not strength. We became strong by making force pointless." The Emperor sat down heavily on his throne. 10,000 years of empire ended not by conquest but by choice. Finally, he spoke. "What would you have me do?" "What we did," Kyung-ho said, appearing on screen from Earth. "Teach. Help others learn to choose." 6 months later, Emperor Zexthul stood in the new Galactic Assembly. He wore simple clothes now, no crown, no weapon. Around him, representatives from 1,000,000 worlds debated and discussed and argued, but peacefully, always peacefully. "The Emperor recognizes the representative from Earth," he said. Director Cho stood up. "I propose we remember this day, the day war ended, the day we all chose peace." The chamber erupted in approval, sounds from 100 species that all meant the same thing. "Yes." After the session, Zexthul walked with Cho through the station's gardens. Plants from 1,000 worlds grew together here. "I was wrong about your species," the former emperor said. "I thought," You were weak because you showed mercy. And now I know that mercy is the strongest force in the universe. They stopped at a memorial wall. On it were names. Names of every being who had died in the wars. Human, Vextai, Kieltar, Zephini, all of them. They hit Earth first. Cho read the inscription. But they made sure no one would have to die from war again. Yeren, now the galaxy's chief medical officer, joined them. The nanobots are working perfectly. Every being capable of thought now has the parts they need to choose, to create, to imagine something better. So Jin documented it all. The first day without war in galactic history. The first day when hurting someone was physically impossible. In the station school, children learned about war like humans once learned about dinosaurs, something that had existed long ago but was extinct now. A Vextai child raised her hand. Teacher, why did they fight wars? The teacher, a former human soldier, thought carefully. Because they forgot they had other choices. What other choices? The teacher smiled. All of them. That night, as the station's artificial sun set, beings from 1,000,000 worlds went to sleep peacefully. No guards, no weapons, no fear. War was over. Not just on Earth, not just in the Vextai Empire, everywhere, and it would never come back. The humans had made sure of that. They had been hit first, but they made certain they would be the last.